Hi, welcome back to 5 Minutes in the Word with Redeemed Girl Ministries, and I'm Marian Jordan Ellis. One of my favorite quotes of all time is from Blaise Pascal. He was a French philosopher and a scientist, an observer of humanity, and he looked at the human condition and he said these words. He says, "There is a God-shaped hole in the heart of every man that can only be filled by God himself." And I remember when I first heard that, it helped me recognize my problem, that I was searching in life to fill this God-shaped hole in me with men and with possessions, with fame, with all of this stuff, with money and power, with food and substances, and nothing in creation could fill the God-shaped hole in me because none of it was God. Only God can fill the God spot. Well, today, the verse that we're going to talk about is Jesus himself having a conversation with a woman. And in the midst of this conversation, her thirst to find love, her thirst to find acceptance, her thirst to find meaning and identity is being paralleled to the physical thirst for water. And this woman is what we call the woman at the well. And she goes to a well to get water. And there, this thirsty woman, spiritually and physically, she meets Jesus, who is the living water. And he diagnoses the problem of her soul. Well, when Jesus meets her, she's coming there at noon to a well because she's ashamed, because she's a woman with a very bad reputation. She's a woman who's scorned in her village, so she has to come at a time in the heat of the day when the rest of the women of the village are home with her kids. And she comes by herself, lonely and thirsty, to this well. Well, Jesus went out of his way intentionally to this well in Samaria to meet this woman. And as they begin to dialogue and conversation, Jesus being all-knowing and Jesus being God, he diagnoses her problem. He goes, "You've got a deep thirst. You're trying to fill your God spot with men. You've had 5 husbands and the man you're with now is not your husband." Well, just like a lot of us do when God pinpoints a problem in us, or when we're confronted with truth is an important word today, we deflect, right? We try to change the subject. We try to think about something else. And that's exactly what this woman did in John 4. When Jesus says, "You've got a spiritual problem. You're trying to meet your God spot with all these other things that are never going to meet it." She goes, let's talk about religion. And she begins to say, "You Jews say," to Jesus, she says, "You Jews say that we're supposed to worship in Jerusalem, but we choose to worship in Samaria." To which Jesus responds to her with our scripture today. He says, it's not about the place you worship. It's not about the style of worship. It's about your heart being filled by God and the Spirit of God living inside you and you knowing him. Our verse today is John 4, verse 24, where Jesus says, "For God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth." I gave you the context of it first because I think it's so helpful to hear that Jesus is talking about worship. Now, when all of us go looking to fill this God spot in our souls, whether it's through our work or through relationships or through people or through money, you know what that is? That's worship. Whatever we put our hope into, whatever we invest our time into, whatever is the most important thing in our lives, that is what we worship. And Jesus says to the woman at the well, and he says to us, he goes, "You're not going to find what you're looking for anywhere else but God himself. For you must worship God in spirit and in truth." And her argument was, isn't worship about a place? Isn't it about a time of a week? And he says, no. It's about the Spirit of truth being in your heart and that you having a relationship with me and that Spirit taking residence. And then you, when the Spirit of truth takes up residence in your heart, you become the place of worship. It's not about a location. It's about your heart and the Spirit of truth, who is Jesus Christ, taking up residence in you. Now, Jesus said this to the woman who said to him, "You know what? One day the Messiah is going to come and he's going to explain all this stuff to her." And guess what? You know what's so cool? The first person that Jesus Christ revealed that he was the Messiah of God who had come to rescue and redeem us was to this woman who had such a bad sin history, who had such a bad record that she could not come around other people at the well, he told her, I who speak to you am he. I am the hope of humanity. I am the one who's going to come that will make you and allow you to worship God wherever you are, because it's about a relationship. And it's about the Spirit of truth coming and dwelling inside of your heart, where you are known by him, you're filled by him, you have a relationship with him. And it's not about religion, and it's not about a certain place. It's about being alive to the God who knows you and redeemed you and created you. And it's about loving and knowing the Spirit of truth.